New right now tonight on the WHAS11 night team after Monday Night Football. Speed through a work zone, you'll soon be caught.
There will be signage that says the camera enforcement is allowed when lights are flashing.
This ever-present eye, a special speed enforcement camera, is now watching I-64 near Louisville. We'll tell you how you'll end up getting a ticket. And then, more people than ever are turning to local food pantries.
None of us want to see anybody going hungry, and it's going to take all of us to solve this food crisis.
But the federal money that once supported them is drying up. The dilemma tonight. And an archaeological team in Shelby County searching for the remains of a regiment of black Union soldiers killed by Confederates during the Civil War. Right now on the WHAS 11 Night Team. Watching your speed is taking on a whole new meaning right here in the state of Kentucky. It is our top story right here tonight, and we thank you very much for staying up a little late with us after Monday Night Football. I'm Doug Proffitt. First ever speed cameras are being installed in work zones to protect the road crews. WHAS 11 Night Team's Jose Alonso and photojournalist Aspen Hester tell us more about how this will soon be implemented in Shelby County.
You may want to keep an eye out for these warning signs and speedometer while driving across Kentucky interstates like I-64 east of Louisville.
Whenever they're up, I'm sure they have signs out, but we'll see them.
Pretty soon, cameras will be watching you.
A growing country town. It's a little congested. I think it's better than patrol officers getting out there blocking the roads and stuff.
The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says a new law is allowing the installment of these automated speed enforcement devices, some of which are being placed on about a 10-mile stretch of construction east and west of I-64 around the Shelbyville exit.
There's parameters set up in the radar technology that will only flag or put a red block around the vehicles doing more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Executive Director of the Kentucky Association of Highway Contractors, Chad LaRue, says this focuses on the safety of construction crews and drivers across the state.
While our employees are exposed to those work zones on a day-to-day basis, the injuries and fatality rates predominantly impact the driving public. If you are cited, it will be a $500 ticket before court costs. So once again, our emphasis is not to write those tickets, it's not to collect the money, but the money is to be a deterrent.
KYTC wants to emphasize this isn't a camera that's going to send you a speeding ticket later on in the mail. Rather, an on-duty law enforcement officer will utilize this technology to ensure no one is trying to speed through a work zone. Shelby County resident and driver Steve Ellis calls it an important move.
Too many people get sidetracked when they're driving, not paying attention, and if they're speeding, it makes it worse.
Other drivers at this gas station feel the same.
So it's all right with me. You know, that you need to be careful of those guys out there. They're just trying to do their job, that you don't have an accident.
So if you spot construction warning signs, give these workers a break because you may end up paying for it. In Shelby County, Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
So here's where we stand on this tonight. Kentucky Transportation also says this protocol won't be enforced until October, so drivers can start adjusting to this upcoming change. These devices will also be placed at work zones in Lawrence, Martin, Fayette, Laurel, and Whitley counties in Kentucky. Additional locations may also be added later this year.
This was a very challenging incident. This was a very challenging fire. Our firefighters and our Jaytown Fire Department did an excellent job given the challenging conditions that the building construction presented.
This apartment complex in Middletown is damaged after a fire around 1 this afternoon, and 16 people are out of their homes tonight. It happened at the Vines at Shelby Crossing, formerly the La Fontenay Apartments on Shelbyville Road in Middletown. Multiple units responded to the scene within minutes and quickly gained entry. Crews were able to extinguish the visible fire, but they discovered the fire had spread to several apartments through connecting walls. 4 units closest to the fire sustained significant damage. 4 others only had smoke damage. There were no injuries, and those who are displaced will be assisted through the American Red Cross to arrange their housing. Anchorage Middletown Fire and EMS says the fire appears to be electrical. Gunfire in Louisville, leaving 2 men dead this morning and police searching for suspects. Louisville Metro Police say shots rang out at around 10:15 this morning on Napa Valley Drive. That's in the Okolona neighborhood. Officers found 2 men killed inside an apartment. Witnesses told the police they saw several people running from the scene. One woman who lives nearby says the violence has shaken her entire community.
Came running out. Yeah, the kids next door, like, scared. The neighbors, my neighbor, my elderly neighbor, like, they shouldn't have to worry about that. Now they can't even go back in their home. They're scared to go home.
Detectives with the LMPD homicide unit have been on the scene investigating. Anyone who can help those detectives can call anonymously to 574 LMPD. Right now, new tonight on the night team, the federal government has canceled the annual report that has collected data and analysis on food insecurity for years. Local Kentuckiana food pantries are worried that this could lead to decreased funding for their services. So important. WHAS11 night team's Alex Dieterer has the story from New Albany tonight, hearing from a nonprofit bracing for more cuts and even more change.
Glad we're here to help.
Plastic bags filled with canned and fresh vegetables, rice, and beans from the food pantry at Hope Southern Indiana. Executive Director Becky Romans says the nonprofit is serving 22% more families each month since spring, seeing an increase in need but a decrease in stocked shelves.
The increase has been going on since about April. And we've hit a couple of times within the last few months where we got really low on food and had to cry out to the community to help fill our shelves.
We're seeing more and more clients because the price of food has gone up.
This Southern Indiana food pantry is feeling the impact after President Trump signed legislation sharply reducing food aid.
The Trump administration announced this month that they're ending the USDA's annual report on hunger in America, calling it overly politicized and rife with inaccuracies.
So I'm devastated to hear that the USDA is paying less attention to how many families are suffering from food instability. We know that a lot of times grants and funding are dependent on surveys that count the numbers of food insecure families, and if we're not counting, people can pretend that they don't know, and that's concerning.
40% of Hope Southern Indiana's food comes from Dare to Care USDA supplied food. The other 60% comes from churches, people, and businesses.
Everything from potatoes to hamburger helper to mac and cheese, pasta.
Like Duke Energy, who gave Hope Southern Indiana a $10,500 food insecurity grant to supply families on fall break food while they're not at school.
Many of the families that we serve get most of their meals, if not all of their meals, from school.
We don't want families to go hungry. We want them to be able to enjoy their break, enjoy time with their families, and not have to worry about food being on the table.
Trying to keep food on the table for their clients while bracing for more cuts they say could be on the horizon. In New Albany, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS 11 night team on your side.
The USDA says the last report will be published October 22nd, which will be data collected from 2024. After weeks of complaints about mold at the crossing at the South Park Apartments in Fairdale, Louisville's Codes and Regulations Department now says the complex is clear of mold. Inspectors blame a faulty air conditioning system that caused high humidity. Crews are making repairs, but residents say the problems remain, pointing to black spots on floors, walls, and even furniture. One mother says she's most concerned about how the conditions may affect her little baby's health, who was released from his breathing tube on Friday.
Yeah, I went to my sister's house on Friday, because I didn't want to bring him back home so sudden, knowing that the problem is coming from the home. He came home yesterday, and his breathing's already messing back up.
The full results of today's code inspection sweep are not yet available. We are waiting to hear back from the department. The Marion Group of Louisville, which owns the complex, declined to comment until the report is released. The ambitious search for the remains of black Civil War soldiers killed in Simpsonville, moved forward today with a large new effort. They're trying to find the gravesite of a lost Civil War infantry. The 5th United States Cavalry was an all-black battalion ambushed and massacred in 1865 in Simpsonville. They were a group of freed slaves turned Union infantry, killed by Confederates, 22 soldiers dying there in the Simpsonville area. Their remains have never been found. Today, a University of Kentucky archaeologist used a drone to locate what could have been their burial site.
There's no doubt the massacre did take place. There's no doubt about that. But to find the lost soldiers, well, give them the proper burial they deserve.
After hours of digging massive trenches today, the excavation team left disappointed, unable to find the remains. The research team will continue its effort, but for now, the digging operations in Simpsonville are on hold for the moment. On the night team tonight, no deal. Vice President J.D. Vance saying a government shutdown is increasingly likely. The much talked about meeting with Democrats and President Donald Trump goes nowhere, as the deadline will be on the way this time tomorrow night. And then don't forget, Jimmy Kimmel Live is brand new after this newscast. He has moved his shows to New York City this week. Tom Hanks, Bruce Springsteen, and CBS's Stephen Colbert, just some of the guests this week, right after the WHAS11 night team.
Mostly clear and cool tonight, but we are tracking above average temperatures through the weekend. Your 7-day forecast coming up after the break. Today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots: Mega Millions $497 million, Powerball $160 million.
The Kentucky Lottery.